the question whether mathematics is um, invented or discovered, whether there is this world of pure forms and so on, is another paradoxical question, which doesn't have a simple answer, like whether electron is a particle or a wave. From one point of view, yes, it's true. And just the fact that so many mathematicians today actually subscribe to this idea gives it a certain credibility, because that's what we feel. We do feel that we dive into that mindscape, so to speak, but the very structured mindscape, where, I wrote in Love and Math that, the enchanted gardens of Platonic reality, so where all this fruit grows, and then we might mention, it gives you this sort of romantic sense of an explorer. And someone may be stuck in some provincial town in Russia, for instance, but have the sense of Magellan, of traveling around the world. It's just not in the world that we usually think of. So it's one point of view, but the other point of view is that, yes, it is a human process. Of course it is. I mean, it is. You cannot deny that. It's human beings who have so far discovered new mathematics. And I do not deny the possibility that computer programs will be able to discover new mathematics. But so far it's been humans. So whatever it is, whether it's discovered or invented, it is a human activity.
The possibility that paradoxes are actually fundamental to reality, and really, really internalizing that we exist in a world of not forms, but of paradoxes.
Bingo. And so it's like what I said.
World.
But if you think it's weird, and I agree with you, as a recovering addict to knowledge, but I am liking it more and more because there's so much freedom in it. And like Niels Bohr said, I quoted that earlier, the opposite of a great truth is another great truth. Mm-hmm. He's pointing out to this fact that, and he also said that some things in quantum physics are so complicated, the only way you can speak of them is in poetry. Mm-hmm. So in other words, what is it about poetry? What is it about art? Why are we so drawn to that? Why are we so captivated by those forms they are not intellectual necessarily. They are not. When you look at a painting that you like, when you listen to music that you love, you get lost in it. You get absorbed in it. It can make you cry. It can make you laugh. It can make you remember something. It can make you feel more confident. It can make you feel sad or happy, and so on. What is this all about? Is it really just some play between some kind of like xylophone play of some neurons hitting on each other? Is it really that only? Maybe.
It could be both. I'm just worried about kids these days that might live in a world of paradoxes. If there's no God, everything is possible. I mean, they'll have a little too much fun, and we have to put a constraint to the fun.
Have you looked at the world lately?
I haven't checked in a while.
You think it's perfect the way it is now? The world without paradoxes? The world in which we believe that every question can be answered as yes or no, that it is this or that, and if you disagree with me, you're my enemy?
Wouldn't that be interesting if this 21st century is a transition into seeing the world as a world of paradoxes?
I'm telling you, people predicted that, the age of Aquarius, that the axis of the Earth is rotating relative to the plane in which the Earth goes around the sun, and the period of this revolution is around 2,000 years. So there is a traditional way of measuring that by this eras, the ages. So the previous one was called the Age of Pisces, mm-hmm. because of the constellation of Pisces that it points to, so to speak, And now it's as in the famous musical Hair, they said the Age of Aquarius is upon us. So the different people dated differently, but somewhere around the time where we are finding ourselves. How interesting, right? There's all the strife and all the difficulties the world is experiencing. This might actually be the transition to something more harmonious. Wouldn't it be nice?